Good morning, good morning. It's your boy Chill. Thanks for tuning in for another video. Today I'm going to show you guys how to tie your own fishing rigs for striped bass fishing in the SF Bay area. So let's dive right into it. First thing you're going to need to know is how to tie some knots. You're going to need to know these 5 knots before you can tie any kind of fishing rig. So let's get to it. First one is going to be the Palomar knot. It is one of the strongest and easiest knots to tie for fishing, so let's get started. Now to tie a Palomar knot, first thing you want to do is take your line. You want to go ahead and double it up. You want to have about maybe 4 to 5 inches of line doubled up, that way you have a lot of room to play with. Go ahead and take your doubled up line and stick it through your tackle. First thing you want to do is a simple overhand knot, granny knot. Then go ahead and cinch that down. Don't tighten it all the way, but just tighten up. And then with this loop that you have here, you want to go ahead and put your tackle through that loop. Just like so. Now the key to this knot is to hold these tag ends and make sure that these tag ends don't go back through the loop, okay? Once you got your loop up, go ahead and wet your line with some water or some spit. And go ahead and tighten that down all the way. Once you got it tightened all the way, go ahead and cut your tag end off. That is your Palomar knot. All right, the next knot I want to show you guys is the surgeon's loop knot and the figure 8 loop knot. You can use these knots whenever you need a loop, which comes in handy in a lot of situations when fishing. So let's get to it. To tie the surgeon's loop knot, first thing you want to do is double up your line, and you want to pinch it at the point of where you want your loop to be, of how big you want your loop to be. So if you want your loop to be that big, then that's your pinch point right here. And all you want to do here is tie an overhand knot, just like so. And then you want to pass your loop one more time back through for another overhand knot. And then just go ahead and tighten that down. Tying it down all 4 sides of the line, and you got yourself a surgeon's loop knot. Very durable loop. Now if you don't like that knot and you want to use a different loop knot, you can use the figure 8 loop knot, which is also very easy to tie. All you want to do with this is double up your line like this. Go ahead and start doing an overhand knot, but instead of completing it, we're just going to keep this loop here like this. With this loop, you want to turn it 180 degrees, and then grab your main loop and push it through the back side. Okay, not the front side, but the back side of the loop. Now, before you tighten it down, look at the shape of the knot. If it's the shape of a figure 8, then you did it right. Go ahead and tighten that down. Same thing, tighten this down all 4 sides. And you got yourself a very durable loop knot too. The next knot I'm going to show you is the Uni Knot and the improved Clinch knot. You can use these knots to tie on terminal tackle when the Palomar knot can't be used, like for certain boat rigs, or if you're using a 3-way swivel. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. Now to start a Uni knot, all you want to do is pass your tackle through, and you want to have about maybe 6 inches of line, just enough line to play with, okay? And all you want to do here is double up your line next to your main line, just like this, and make a little loop. Just like this. Just like this right here. Okay? Now with this loop, you want to pass your tag end back through it. Now if you're using braid, I recommend doing this at least 7 to 8 times. But just for the video, we're going to do 5. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, once you got your wraps around, it should look like this. You want to go ahead and tighten that down. Make sure all your wraps are uniform, that they're not crossed over each other. Everything looks nice and even. And then you're going to be left with this loop here, but to get rid of that loop, all you have to do is tighten it down with your main line. Put some spit or water on it, tighten it all the way down. Go ahead and cut your tag end off. And that is your Uni knot. Now if you don't like the Uni Knot and you want to use the improved Clinch knot, then let me show you how to do that. All you want to do with this is take the tag end of your line and pass it through your tackle. And just like the Uni Knot, you want to have about 5 inches of play. And all you want to do with this is wrap your line around your main line. If you're using braid, you want to do it about 7 to 8 times. If you're using mono, you can get away with 5. For this video, I'm going to do 5. That's 4, and that's 5. And once you do 5 wraps around your line, take your tag in and stick it through this first loop. Now if you stopped right here and tighten it down, this would be called a clinch knot, but the clinch knot does fail. So someone came up with taking this tag end here and putting it back through this loop as well. So once you get it through that loop, you can go ahead and tighten everything down. Make sure it's all uniform, nothing is crossed. Once you got it tightened down, go ahead and cut your tag end off, and you got yourself an improved clinch knot. Okay, so now that we know what knots to use, let's get to the rigs. The first 2 rigs that I'm going to show you guys are going to be the fish finder rig and the Carolina rig, since they are both very similar. Use these rigs to target the bottom where species like striped bass, halibuts, and sturgeons hang out. This green line right here will represent the main line as braid coming off of the fishing reel. And this red line right here will represent the leader as monofilament or fluorocarbon line. So to tie a fish finder rig, you're going to need a sinker slide, a bead, and a snap swivel. Now these snaps and swivels and sinker slides, they all have a pound test rating just like our fishing lines do. So make sure that you choose accordingly. So to tie a fish finder rig, first thing you want to do is take your main line. You want to go ahead and put this sinker slide on there. After the sinker slide, you want to go ahead and add your bead. And then after the bead, you want to tie on your snap swivel using the Palomar knot, which you just learned. So let's go ahead and double up the line. Pass my tackle through it. Do an overhand knot. Cinch that down. Take this loop right here and put my tackle through it. Holding the tag ends, making sure that it doesn't go back through the loop. Tighten everything down. Make sure you use some spit. And then once you got it tightened down, go ahead and cut your tag end off. Now so far you got this tied up right here. This is where your weight goes. This is where your leader goes. And the bead is here to protect your knot. Because if your weight is if your weight's hitting your snap swivel all the time, it's gonna fray out that knot. So that bead is there for protection. Now for the other half of this rig, you're going to need to know how to tie a leader. Now a leader line should always be mono or fluorocarbon line because it's stiffer and has some memory. Braid doesn't have any memory at all and it'll go limp and probably get tangled in the rest of your rig. So always use mono or fluorocarbon for leader material. Now to tie a leader, you're going to need to know how to snell a hook. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to snell a hook properly. Now there is multiple ways of snelling a hook, but I'll be showing you the most easiest and fastest method. Most of the hooks that we use in the bays are bent eye, which are the ones that you want to snell. You can snell straight shank hooks as well, but on a bent eye you definitely want to snell them. So to snell a hook, all you want to do is take your line, pass it through your hook. Give yourself about 6 to 8 inches of line to play with. And all you want to do here is make a loop right next to your hook shank, just like this. Once you got your loop right here next to your hook shank, go ahead and take your tag end and wrap your loop and the hook shank around. Again, if you're using braid, you want to do this 7 to 8 times. With mono, you can probably get away with 5. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just went a little bit extra. Then you want to take your tag in here and pass it through this loop at the bottom. Once you got that through there, tighten everything down slowly. then you have a beautifully snelled hook. Very easy to tie. Once you got your hook snelled, you can go ahead and cut the tag end off. Now you have to choose the length of your leader. Now for the length of your leader, if you're first getting to your fishing spot and you don't know what the bite is like, then you want to use a longer leader, 2 to 3 feet, just to find the fish. But if you've been fishing and the fish are short striking but not getting pinned, then go ahead and make a shorter leader, maybe about 1 foot. Now to end this leader, you want to come all the way to the top of your leader, and we're going to attach a swivel. Now this swivel here, you can attach it with the Palomar knot. Go ahead and double up your line. Pass your line through your tackle. Go ahead and do that simple overhand knot. Cinch it down. Take that loop that you have, pass your tackle through it. Make sure the tag ends do not go back through the loop. Put some spit or water on it and tighten everything down, okay? Once you got it tightened down, always cut your tag ends. And this is what your leader should look like. Should be a swivel down to about 2 to 3 feet of line, down to a snelled hook. Now you take your leader here and you hook it up to your fish finder rig. And this is the fish finding rig. So you have your weight right here at the bottom, sitting in the sand or in the mud, and you have a little bit of room here for your bait to go in and out. And then you have your leader line going straight to your snelled hook. That's the fish finding rig. Now the Carolina rig is very, very similar to this. The only difference between a fish finding rig and a Carolina rig is this sinker slide. You remove this sinker slide and you put on one of these egg weights. And keep the bead, because it's the same concept. It's going to protect your knot. So that's the only difference between a fish finding rig and a Carolina rig. Okay, the next rig is the high-low rig. This rig is good to use when you want to target 2 different water zones, or if you want to keep your bait off the bottom. This is also the best rig to use for catching live bait. Now there is a few different ways to tie a high-low rig, but I'll be showing you the version where you attach your hook separately to the rig, like those pre-made eagle claw bait holder hooks that you buy at the stores. So to tie a high-low rig, you will need a snap swivel and a swivel and about 3 feet of line. So let's start by tying the top of the rig. The top of the rig is going to be your swivel. You want to go ahead and tie that with the Palomar knot. And cut your tag end off. See, now the reason why you use spit or water, you see this little bend right here in the line? That's from tightening the knot. That's why you want to use spit or water when you're tightening a knot on mono or floral line, even with braid. Continue this down. This is the top of your rig, and you want to imagine how far you want it from your main line. So maybe about 6 inches down. That's where the first hook is going to be. Okay, so where your first hook is going to be, you want to pinch that point, and we're going to make a loop knot right here. Now you can use the surgeon's loop knot that I just showed you, or the figure 8, up to you. I'm going to use a figure 8 right now. All you want to do is start doing a overhand knot, but don't complete it. Turn this 180 degrees. Main loop goes through the back side. There we go. Make sure it has that shape, the figure 8 shape. Tighten everything down. And you want to tighten it down on all 4 sides of the line. So now you got your top right here where this attaches to your main line with the swivel, and it goes down to your first loop right here. Now I'm going to tie on those hooks kind of like the eagle claw hooks, so you have to imagine how long it's going to be. So maybe about here, and from that point you want to double that down to your next loop. So the hook will probably be hanging about here, so I want to double that. About right here is going to be my next hook. And same thing here, you want to use a loop knot. Since I just did a figure 8, I'm going to do a surgeon's loop knot right here. Just do an overhand knot and then pass it through one more time, essentially doing a double overhand knot, and then just tighten that down, all 4 sides. Then you have your next hook knot right there. Then as you go down to the bottom of your rig, still want to imagine where your hook's going to be if you're going to add a third hook. But even if you're not going to add a third hook and you're going down to your weight, you don't want your weight tangling with that hook, right? So make sure that this hook is high enough where it's not touching your weight, okay? So you want to go down your line and then to about right here to end this one. You want to tie it to a snap swivel because this is where your weight's going to go, and you want to use a Palomar knot to tie this off and cut your tag end off. So now we got the high-low rig almost completed. We got the top of the rig here with the swivel that attaches to your main line. Goes down to your first loop where your first hook's gonna be. You have enough length here where it doesn't get tangled with the other hook. Second loop here where your second hook goes. And then all the way down to where your weight's gonna clip onto. Now to complete this rig, you're gonna need to tie some hooks. Now I just showed you how to snell a hook, so you guys know how to do that. I have the one that I just snelled, so basically say we snelled this hook, you wanna go to length to where you want it at, where it's going to hang off your high-low rig, and you want to go ahead and cut that. And then to attach this to your high-low rig, all you have to do is make a loop knot right here. So let's go ahead and make a loop knot. I'm going to do figure 8 loop knot. Tighten it down, all 4 sides. Once you got everything tightened down, cut that tag end off. And then to attach this to your high-low rig, all you want to do is take loop to loop, push one loop through it, the one with your hook, and then take your hook, pass it back through, basically doing a half hitch. Okay, and that's your hook attached. So now you have the top of your rig going to your first hook, going down the line to your second hook, down to your weight, just like that. That's the high-low rig. Now there is a simpler way to tie this rig. You can tie this rig without the snap swivel. Instead, just make a giant loop knot here, and then you can attach your weight just like how we attached the hook. And then same thing for the hook. Instead of doing it this way, there is a simple way where you can just make this loop knot very big with the hook attached to it. So you will have no need for any other terminal tackle. And then for the top, you can just make a loop knot and attach it to your main line. All right, and the next rig I'm going to show you guys is the Dropshot Rig. This rig is mainly used for targeting the bottom and is a very effective way to catch halibut. To tie a Dropshot rig, you're going to need a swivel, a snap swivel, and a hook of your choice, and about 3 feet of line. First thing you want to do is go to about the middle point of your line, and you want to go ahead and tie your hook on using the Palomar knot. So go ahead and double up your line, pass it through your hook, and go ahead and tie a Palomar knot. Overhand. Cinch it down. Put your hook through the loop. And then tighten it all down. Now once you tighten it down and you got your hook on the line, you can see the angle that the hook is at right now. So you gotta imagine, when you're using a Dropshot rig, you have to imagine, because when you're casting off of the shoreline or off of a pier, your line is not 90 degrees straight down. It's at an angle. So you have to imagine where your weight's gonna be and where the hook is gonna be. So about this fashion right here, this is where I want it, just off the bottom. But you can see the angle of the hook is kind of wrong. Because if you imagine if a fish was coming along and this is at an angle here, like say this is the bottom of the sea floor, and a fish is coming along, that hook angle is not the best. So what you want to do with the Dropshot rig, after you tie the Palomar knot, is look at the front side of the hook and take your tag in from the front side of that hook and pass it back through the eye of the hook. Okay, and go ahead and straighten that out. Now, as you can see, the angle of the hook has changed. So now if a fish comes along, that's a lot better point for the fish to get pinned. So So that's a very important step. Make sure after you tie the Palomar knot, look at the front side of the hook, take that tag in and pass it back through, okay? Now once you got your rig set up and you know exactly where your weight's gonna be, that's where you wanna go ahead and make a cut. And you wanna go ahead and tie on a snap swivel using the Palomar knot. Cut your tag end off. So now we got the bottom of the rig. We got our hook right here. And now you just want to go up about maybe 10 inches, maybe a foot, and tie off with a swivel with the Palomar knot. This is gonna be going to the main line right here. This is how this rig attaches to your main line. Okay, so now we have the Dropshot rig. This is what it should look like. This is going to be the top of the rig, connecting to your main line, going down to your hook, going down to your weight. Now on this hook, you can put a fluke, a curly tail grub, a paddle tail, and the way that you fish the Dropshot rig is you cast it out and you just drag your weight on the bottom, just like this, nice and slowly, all the way. And you'll catch a halibut or a striper. And that's basically all the rigs that you will ever need to know for fishing in the bays or on the coast, from a pier or from the shoreline or from the beach. Now the last thing I want to show you guys is how to tie a mono or fluorocarbon leader line to a braided main line. You can use leaders if you need that extra abrasive resistance, like if you're fishing in a rocky area or you're on the beach, or if the fish are line shy, or if you just want to use it as a shock absorber when you cast or handle the line. Since mono and fluoro has some stretch to it, it can act as a shock absorber. Now the only knot that I use for braid the mono or braid the fluoro is the FG knot. This knot is one of the strongest knots to use for a leader connection, and is also one of the thinnest knots to use for sliding through your guides. Now I got this line right here, which is braid, this blue line. Just imagine that this line is on my fishing reel, on my fishing rod, and my fishing rod is on the side here, and I'm using the tension from my fishing rod to tie this knot, okay? And then for leader line, I have this green line right here, which is monofilament. So the first thing you want to do is take your main line here and wrap it around your pinky, okay? You want to wrap it around your pinky maybe 4 to 5 times just to get some tension on it. So once you got tension on the line, you want to take about 3 to 4 inches of your leader and place it right on top, just like that, okay? Now once it's on top, all you want to do is take your leader line and go under your main line, okay? 1 time, just like that, and do the same thing on the other side, 2 times, okay? And you want to just keep repeating that. Underneath, 3, underneath this line, 4. And you want to do that 18 times, okay? Let's just go ahead and do it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't know why fishermen say they don't like this knot and that it's hard to tie. I can literally do this in my sleep. I believe that's 16, 17, 18. Now once you get to this point right here, go ahead and pinch that pinch point right there, and you can let go of your pinky, all the line on your pinky. Keep your main line and your leader line parallel like this, and go ahead and do a half hitch knot. Just like this. Okay, once you did 1 half hitch, go ahead and tighten that down, and then do another half hitch knot. And once you got your second hitch knot, go ahead and tighten that down all the way. Now you can kind of let go of that pinch point. Now this step is very important right here. Once you get this down right here, if any one of these loops is loose, it'll compromise the whole knot. So you want to make sure that these are all tight. So the way to do that is just go ahead and take your line and cinch everything down. You can actually visually see it cinching down. Okay, once you got it cinched down, you can go ahead and hold on, let me get this straightened out. Okay, once you got it cinched down, you can go ahead and cut this tag end here as close as you want it, because this will not slip now. So cut this leader line, this mono, close as you can. Okay. Then all you want to do from here to end the knot, do another half hitch. Tighten that down. Do one more half hitch. Come on. There we go. Tighten that down. Now I've seen a lot of anglers, they do one more half hitch and that's it. That's the end of the knot. I just don't feel comfortable with that. I know half hitches are pretty strong. So what I do is I go around my line one more time like this. And then I wrap this around the loop and I do that 5 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now once I get here, I don't tighten it down. What I do is I reverse this back to the other side, so to the bottom of my knot. As you see, this is all wrapped on the top. I reverse this so it wraps on the bottom instead. So get your tag in, keep it parallel, and what you want to do is unwrap this side to make it wrap this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I can pull this tag in to get this knot to tighten down. Just like that. Now once you got everything tight, you can cut your tag end off. And this FG knot will not go anywhere. And you can see it's very, very thin, very strong. Best knot to use for leader to leader connection when you're using braid the mono or braid the fluoro. All right, y'all, now that you guys know what knots to use and what rigs to tie and how to tie them, you don't need to go to the store anymore and buy those expensive pre-made stuff. Just get a spool of line and some hooks and tackles for pennies on the dollar and you can just make your own. Now that you know how to, it's time for y'all to check out some of my other videos and get your line in the water and try to catch yourself a California striped bass. Thank you so much for watching another tutorial video. And if you have any questions or suggestions, or if you have some other rigs that you'd like to use, go ahead and drop a comment below and let us know. But until next time, good luck, tight lines, and peace out.